slams the drums, here he comes. Hopalong Cassidy, here he
Red Connors and I were returning to our home range after delivering a herd of cattle to the railhead. Early evening found us still 50 miles from home, so we decided to put up for the night in the town of Millville.
Gee, I'm mighty proud of myself. We made this whole dang trip and I haven't gotten into any trouble.
I'll buy you a halo when we get home. But don't forget, we're not back to Twin Rivers yet.
It ain't always my fault when things happen. I don't go around looking for trouble.
You don't have to. Trouble just seems to find you. Get the horse and put away, or I'll go in and arrange for a room. And don't forget the saddlebags.
Oh, boy. Hey, get away from that horse! I said leave him alone.
I'm just trying to stop him. Don't you go pushing me.
Oh, you're pushing for trouble, aren't you?
That's enough.
You're trying to buy some of the same, huh?
That's enough.
I didn't start it, honest, Hoppy.
I know it. Maybe we'd better forget the whole thing.
We Murdochs aren't the forgetting kind. Come on. There'll be another time.
I hope you're right.
You all right?
Sure.
Hoppy, I swear, every time I see you, you're just winning a fight of some kind.
Well, take a chance, Taggart. How are you, Jim?
Never felt better, Hoppy.
Jim, this is Red Connors.
Hello, Red.
Hey, with a name like Take a Chance, you must be a gambler.
In a way, he is quite a gambler. Jim builds railroads. I suppose that's what you're down here for, that proposed branch line to connect the Midland and Western Railroad.
That's it, Hoppy. Biggest gamble I ever took. Everything I have is tied up in the project.
Sounds like quite a deal. It was a big and ambitious job Jim Taggart had taken on. He meant to build a steel trail west through the barren desert, through passes that wound through the high mountains, to some of the richest cattle country in the Southwest, where the railroad had never reached before.
And I don't mind telling you, Hoppy, it's been a tough surveying job. 6 months of it. But it looks like I can go ahead now. Buddy's due here tomorrow with a complete report of the survey for the route.
Buddy, isn't that your nephew?
Yeah, do you remember him?
Oh, sure, but that was a long time ago. He was just a little shaver.
Well, that little shaver's become one of the best civil engineers in the business. Here's a picture of him when he was pitching for his college team.
Look at that. What a guy.
Hey, somebody's hurt.
That's Bill Bricker, my representative down here. Hoppy, it's Buddy. You see?
I'm afraid so, Jim. How did this happen? Bricker gave us a brief but brutal account of what happened. Early this morning, he had ridden out to the camp some 5 miles from town where Buddy was just completing the last mile of his 6-month survey when 4 masked men rode up. When Bricker came to, the bandits had killed Buddy's assistants and ridden off with everything they could lay hands on, including the leather case that held the complete records of the survey. Realizing that the loss of his records would have ruined his uncle, Buddy seemed to crack up.
I tried to stop him, but I was too late.
You'd better have the doctor take a look at that.
It's only a scratch. I'll be all right. I'll go in and get some rest after I look after Buddy.
We'll take care of that.
Who are you?
It's all right, Bricker. Mr. Cassidy is a U.S. Marshal.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll tell you anything I can, Mr. Cassidy.
It'll keep till morning. Then I want a full description of the men that attack you. Red, give him a hand with Buddy there, will you? Come on. In Jim Taggart's room at the hotel that night, I learned just what my friend was up against. He had mortgaged all of his possessions to put up a bond and buy equipment for the road he intended building. If he failed to turn over a completed survey to a representative of the Railroad Commission by noon of the day after tomorrow, his bond would be forfeited and his contract canceled.
With Buddy gone, I'm sunk, all washed up, and I'm too old to start all over again.
Jim, that doesn't sound like the Taggart I know. Besides, no man gets so old he can't start over again. I know this whole thing has been pretty much of a shock to you, but don't let it get you down. I'll try to pick up a trail the first thing in the morning. In the meantime, you get into bed and get some rest.
Thanks, Hoppy.
Good night, Jim.
Good night, Hoppy.
Next morning, after Bricker described the men who had held up the camp, Red and I rode to the campsite. I picked up an easy-to-follow trail. One of the men had been riding a horse that had lost the left front shoe. The trail led in a circle back to town, and there we lost it in the marks of the traffic in the street. And nowhere had we seen any trace of the map case or maps. Have you put a left front shoe on for anybody in the last 24 hours?
Who wants to know? U.S. Marshal and his deputy.
Well, then I suppose I gotta tell you. Yeah, 3 guys came through here yesterday afternoon.
Bob Murdoch gave a description of the men and their mounts, which checked with those given me by Bricker. I sent telegrams to the sheriffs of the surrounding counties and was ready to take off again to try to pick up the trail. There you are, son. The sight of the youngsters playing catch set me to thinking.
Hadn't we better get a move on? The bandit's got a mighty big head start on us.
Maybe not as big as you think. Come on, we're going back and see Jim Taggart. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning.
How you feel?
I feel better. Did you find anything?
Well, if my mind isn't playing me tricks, I did. May I see that picture of Buddy's again? What I was looking at was the picture of a young man in a baseball uniform, a pitcher's mitt on his right hand. Buddy was left-handed, wasn't he?
Sure. The best southpaw pitcher the school ever had.
Jim, that boy didn't commit suicide. He was murdered.
Murdered?
But Hoppy, Bricker said that the men...
Never mind what Bricker said. Buddy was shot in the right temple, wasn't he? And he was left-handed. Now figure it out yourself.
By golly, you're right, Hoppy. Be darn near impossible.
Certainly it is.
Then Bricker's story was a lie.
From start to finish. Now let's see if we can find his motive. Would those survey maps be of value to anyone besides yourself?
It would be worth a lot to any of a half-dozen men I underbid.
And I suppose Bricker knows a great deal about your business.
Everything.
There's your answer. Bricker sold you out and arranged with Confederates to stage that holdup.
What are we waiting for?
Red, the important thing is to get those survey maps back in time. Jim, here's what I want you to do. Red and I hid out in the hallway while I waited for Jim to carry out my instructions. To get Bricker out of his room on the pretext of wanting to talk to him on business, and to keep Bricker with him until I got back. A thorough search had turned up no sign of the survey maps. Here was something interesting. A letter postmarked Denver, addressed to Bricker. And part of it read, I am interested in your proposition $25,000 worth, provided you can cause the cancellation, plus another $5,000 for the maps later. And it was signed Tom Walker.
I never figured it would go this way. Come in.
Jim, I'm afraid I'm going to have to give up. Lost the trail completely. I'm sorry. I did my best.
I'm sure you did. Thanks for trying. Well, I guess this just about washes me up for good, Bricker. Maybe I can scrape up enough to give you an extra month's pay.
Oh, that's all right, Mr. Taggart. I can get another job. I'll probably head back to Denver on the stage that leaves tonight. Well, thanks for everything.
You played it perfectly, Jim.
And all the while I wanted to kill him with my bare hands.
I can't say that I blame you. Say, do you know a man in Denver by the name of Tom Walker?
I'll say I do. He's a contractor, a business rival of mine. The kind of man who'd rob his own mother.
That I can believe. That's the man Bricker sold out to.
How do you know?
I'll have to explain to you later. I want to keep on his trail. I think he'll lead me to those maps before that stage leaves tonight. You take it easy. For almost an hour, Red and I had been staked out, watching and waiting. Murdoch was telling Bricker how he had pulled the wool over my eyes by giving me the same description of the mythical bandits as Bricker had and sending me off on a wild goose chase. I'm going to trail Bricker. You watch that blacksmith and follow him wherever he goes. Bricker's destination was a small ranch house a few miles out of town. And I was sure when he left the house, he'd be carrying the maps.
Get him up. Aye. Keep him there. We're gonna find out what you're doing snooping around. Start moving toward the house. I was on my way home to meet you when I ran into this.
Well, it's a good thing you did. He's a U.S. Marshal, and I'm beginning to think he's a lot smarter than he acts.
The sooner I kill him, the better. There's no telling how much he knows.
Put that gun away, Murdoch. I followed you out here because I want to talk over some personal business with you.
Like what?
I like blocking Taggart's contract and collecting for those survey maps. I'm cutting myself in.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, you should. We're both in Millville on the same job. Only you beat me to it.
Just what are you trying to say?
There are other contractors besides Tom Walker who'd like to build that branch line. And they're willing to pay more for those maps.
Just what do you know about Tom Walker?
Plenty. And whatever he's willing to pay, I know a man who will triple it. Just what did Walker offer you?
$5,000 for the maps.
5,000? Burley Hawkins in El Paso will pay 25,000 for those maps. We'll split it 3 ways. Is it a deal?
I'd say take it.
You don't look like the kind of a man who would turn crooked, Cassidy.
Did you ever work for a marshal's pay? No, I'm quite sure you didn't. But I have. I've got a chance to make as much money in 24 hours as I've made in the last 7 years, and I'm going to take it.
All right, I'm cutting you in.
Good. Now, I'd like to see those maps. I want to make sure I'm not being cut in on a pig in the poke.
Get the map, Sam.
All right, Marshal Cassidy just turned honest again. Put those maps back in the case, Bricker. Now, you're both under arrest.
Nobody's under arrest. Put those guns down, Marshal.
Like I said, we should have killed him right off.
Yeah, we got to get rid of him. But he's a U.S. Marshal, and if his body's ever found...
It won't be. I've always wanted to see a man dig his own grave. Outside. Get moving.
Well, this spot here looks all right. It's nice and soft. Now start digging.
Well, it's time I got back to Millville and catch the stage. When I get to Denver, I'll deliver this and collect. You can meet me in a few days and pick up your share.
How stupid can you Murdochs be? I may not live to see it, but I'm betting by the time you get to Denver, Bricker will be long gone with the money.
You keep out of this, Cassidy. Well, you know you can trust me.
I don't know. I just think I'll stick with you until you collect and we get our share.
That's right, Sam. You go with him. I'll stay here and finish this job.
I'd been digging for more than half an hour, hoping that I'd get a chance of blinding him with a spadeful of earth.
That's enough dirt. Throw the shovel out. Pleasant dreams, Cassidy.
Thanks, Red.
I lost Murdoch's trail, Hoppy. If I hadn't seen your horse in the brush, I'd have been too late. I'm sorry.
Don't worry about it. You got here just in time. Kick a little dirt on him while I go in the house and get my gun. Bricker and Sam were not in the stage, but they had booked passage to the junction. The driver had last seen them going into the saloon. I showed the driver my credentials and instructed him not to pull out until I gave the word.
Just wanted to have a little talk with you, Jim, before I left. Who besides you and Cassidy knew what I was up to?
Start talking.
No one, as far as I know.
Well, that makes it perfect for us, with Cassidy gone.
Gone? Where? You murdered him just as you did Buddy and his men. Why, you dirty...
Where's your gun, Jim? Find it.
I'm going in the saloon here for a minute. You stay out here and keep your eyes open.
No one will ever doubt your reason for committing suicide, Taggart. And this time we won't leave any clues around for some smart marshal to follow. We'll go back the same way we came in, through the saloon.
Yeah, I know, but hurry up and get it over with.
Breaker!
All right, Cassidy, drop that gun or Taggart goes out of here feet first. Now drop the other one. Get over there.
This is the second time today you've outsmarted yourself, Cassidy. And then when they find you and Taggart, we'll be far away. Come on! Stay here, men.
End of the line, Bricker. Second time today you've outsmarted yourself. Get down. Let's go. After taking Bricker to the county seat, I returned in time to see Taggart turn over the maps and the survey to the railroad commissioner. Jim's contract was now officially in effect, and I knew that before too long, he would have finished a steel trail that would help link the great Southwest with the rest of our country. Goodbye, Colonel.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Come on, Red. Goodbye. Hi, little partners. Anytime you play a game, play it to win. But remember, somebody always has to lose. And in case it's you, don't be unhappy about it. Be a good loser. Just try a little harder the next time. I'll see you next week.
There he goes on his way down the moonlit trail to where cowboys stray. Hopalong Cassidy. Hopalong Cassidy, he'll return soon again. There's no use to say goodbye until then. Hopalong